Welcome into the CHGO White Sox Podcast, coming to you live from Studio A of our CHGO offices here in the West Loop of Chicago. I'm your host, Sean Anderson. Alongside me, the full CHGO White Sox crew. We got Vinnie Duber. You can follow him at Vinnie Duber. He's our CHGO White Sox beat writer. And the man in the middle is Herb Lawrence.
Hello.
You can follow him at Ecknerwall23. He's our CHGO White Sox community leader. Today, we're going to be talking about the unfair postseason. The poor Atlanta Braves, with all those home runs they hit, they didn't get a fair enough break. And it's really sad that they're going to be down 1-0. And we've all heard that, you can't come back from a 1-0 deficit. So poor Atlanta. Sucks to see them out of the playoffs. We'll talk about that. We'll also go into your diehard questions and maybe talk about Oscar Colas, but also we might not.
Wow. That was high pitched, Sean.
Maybe.
The dogs listening right now just got a very special shout out just for them.
I'm a dog lover. So what can I say? And Sarah Victor is producing us today.
Hi.
Hello.
She's doing the whole Herb hello drop-in thing real quick.
She does it high, though.
They hit it and quit it, yeah.
This is pretty good. All right, let's get into the playoffs. What have you guys made of the playoffs before we start talking about the unfairness? Do you guys have any thoughts that, oh, wow, 2-0 sweeps in the first wild card round, like all four teams swept, and then you kind of see, the start that I guess not Houston got off to because they won their first one, but Philadelphia jumped out and got to a 1-0 lead. I mean, did you make of anything before all this discussion?
I mean, I think it counts as surprising, right? I mean, some of these teams were absolutely unstoppable, it seemed, during the regular season, particularly Atlanta, who you've brought up, and how about the LA Dodgers, too? These are two teams that obviously, not perfect. Certainly the Dodgers have had pitching problems all year, but hasn't seemed to bother them, right? I mean, they just go on and win and roll through everything. The D-backs, as great a year as they had, as exciting of a season as they produced, we're so many games back of the Dodgers when the regular season ended. But here you go, one game, and they can show what can happen in one game in baseball. So I think the lesson, obviously, is wait till the end of the series before freaking out. But this certainly counts as surprising because, boy, the Braves looked like one of those teams that was just going to be absolutely untakedownable. They had their big number one pitcher on the mound, and the Phillies looked good. So, hey, it was entertaining. I watched, I think, 3 of the 4 games on Saturday, and really, two of the ones that I watched, the Houston game and the Philly game, were good ones. They were entertaining ball games, and that's really all you can ask for right now.
I'm surprised by all the sweeps in the first round, the wild card round. I was thinking that the Milwaukee Brewers were a little tougher than they were, and I know having your top pitcher, one of your top pitchers out was a detriment to them, but the D-backs went in there and took care of business, and that was good to see, my D-backs. Actually, Padres, but then I'll downshift to D-backs. Phillies, they look like they're a force to be reckoned with, and winning the first game in Atlanta was a huge thing for them. And then now we got the Texas Rangers, who are, I think, the prohibitive favorite when we going into today's games of winning the World Series because they got the 2-0 lead over the Baltimore Orioles. So I am just shocked at the results so far, and I'm shocked that we're about to talk about all this complaining going on in this playoff format.
I mean, hey, you just see the jump out that, the Texas Rangers get over Baltimore. Again, Texas swept the Rays. You see the lead that the Diamondbacks get out to over the Dodgers after sweeping the Brewers. Same with the Phillies with the Braves as well after they swept the Marlins. The only team that didn't do that were the Twins, and I am very happy about that.
But they played great yesterday.
Yes, they did.
And they're not going to have Pablo Lopez pitching every single time. Herb, I know you're going to like this stat because, again, this is the greatest day of your life.
It is.
It's been 20 years since a pitcher has thrown 7 shutout innings in Minute Maid Park. Who was the last pitcher to do it in the postseason, to pitch 7 innings of shutout ball in the postseason?
Freddie Garcia,
On?
the White Sox, 2005.
What was the
October
date?
26,
Yeah,
2005.
okay, there you go. The
Sorry.
greatest day of his life.
That wouldn't be 20 years exactly, as Sean put it, but
No.
just about.
20-ish.
Just about.
I mean,
Yeah.
okay, hold on. Let me
18.
find the. Yeah,
Be
let me
18.
let me
It's
find
old
the
enough- it's
exact
old enough to
tweet.
vote.
Yeah, let me find the exact tweet because he has to be
It'll
exactly
be
right.
17 years and like 358 days since that game happened.
Okay, here is the tweet. Pablo Lopez is just one of 4 pitchers ever to go into Minute Maid Park and shut out the Astros for 7 innings or more in a playoff game. It hadn't been done in nearly 20 years.
There you go.
So, my bad. I missed the word nearly.
Words are important, Sean.
And words are very important. But yeah, last one to do it was Sweaty Freddy in Game 4 of the World Series in 2005 and not 2006, as my fat fingers tweeted out yesterday. I was like, "Oh, this is gonna be great. I know this.
Oh, God.
This is this is perfect. I'll tweet out 2005."
You're just confused because you figure that White Sox success means Tony La Russa is the manager winning the World Series, and that's what he was in 2006. So there you go.
Oh, my God. I couldn't imagine White Sox fans just in your mentions. Oh, you're supposed to be hosting a White Sox show. Don't even know the year they won.
Well, I tweeted it from CHGO White Sox.
Oh,
which
my
is
God.
better.
Even worse.
Which is why.
Oh, my God. Noobs here at CHGO White Sox. Don't
tweet-
even know the year they won the World Series.
The tweet was immediately deleted.
Yeah.
So don't worry. But shout out to everyone who's joining us in the chat as well. Give a thumbs up. We got 8 likes already. Shout out to AJ and KPW and poor KPW too. Losing to the Twins.
KPW was about to give up his Blue Jay fandom because they looked so badly in that series.
I don't blame them. Hey, I've been very impressed with the Twins pitching, but. Again, are the Twins that much better than the White Sox?
Yes.
Is that why they're the elephant in the room? I get the rotations that much better,
This year, yes.
Pablo Lopez and Sonny Gray, but even then, the Twins have been hurt too. Carlos Correa and Byron Buxton haven't even been what they paid for.
But Carlos Correa has raised his level of play, though. You see that play to end the game last night? Man, deep into the hole, got up, picked the ball up after diving, and got him out by a half a step. His defense is on par. I think he hit 2 doubles last night. Offense was on par. He just raised his level of play. And as somebody tweeted out, it's there's an all-time team that you do not want to boo, and he's on that team. If you go and you lustily boo him, like the White Sox boo Javier Baez, he's immediately hitting a double or a home run. That guy thrives off of adversity, thrives off of you hating him and off of vitriol. And that guy, even though I do not like him, is much better than anything the White Sox have in their infield, but only Luis Robert is better than him on the whole team.
And hey, he's playing in the one series right now in which no one's going to boo him. It's the one break he gets all year.
They booed him a little bit.
Why would they boo him? People boo him because of what he did with the Astros.
Because he left.
That's why they booed him?
He left.
Oh, boy. That guy can't catch a break.
I don't think he did. Does he need one?
It was sarcastic.
Oh, I know. It's my bad. Anyways, I'm a mess. My bad. Did you see what happened with Jose Abreu though? Carlos Correa dicta.
I did see that, yeah. When he tagged him, second.
Ball gets away from Jeffers, and Carlos Correa is like, "Oh, don't throw it," and Jeffers throws it over, and Abreu's walking into second, and then Correa just sneaks on the tag right before his foot's on the base, which is very slick.
Jose's still a White Sox, this natural White Sox. Bad base running.
Slide.
Yes.
Put your feet down. He's been great defensively, and even though he really didn't deliver in the regular season, he's been great in the postseason. But there's no way the Twins can beat the Astros.
Why not?
You don't think
they're
so?
going back home? I think Sonny Gray's on the bump, and who are they throwing? Framber Valdez, maybe?
Yes.
Solid, but I would take Sonny Gray over Framber Valdez in this series coming up. And then they're up 2-1. And then I don't know who they're going to be throwing on Wednesday, but I'm sure the Twins are going to be throwing somebody solid. Pablo Lopez can't really come back, but I'm sure they're going to have a better starting pitcher than what the Astros are throwing out there. And that's KPW. That place is nuts now. Absolutely on fire. It's not like Tampa where you're in the playoffs, but you only have 19,000. Twins are in the playoffs, and there's 40,000 happy Twins fans that are enjoying it because finally they won a game, then they won a series. Now they're about to go into the ALCS with 2 more wins. Yeah, people are hyped there.
It's the land of 10,000 rakes.
I want the opposite to happen, but
They've got the best home run celebration in baseball.
what is theirs?
I agree.
The fishing vest with the little fishing pole, land of 10,000 rakes. Come on.
I think that's good.
It's very good.
I just hate that team so much.
That's fine, but it's good. Credit where credit's due.
Weird ass Minnesota Twins.
Oh my God, I hate them so badly.
I wouldn't be surprised if they went up 2 games, but again, that's like what, 6 innings. I don't really think that bullpen is that impressive for the Twins.
The back end is.
I'll take Houston. Again, if this is really truly like the elephant in the room, the AL Central is a joke, like this team's going to go to the ALCS.
You want that to happen if you're a White Sox fan. Then that raises the level of competition. That raises what we're going to be doing in the offseason because you're like, oh, our team that we're competing with went to the ALCS at minimum. If they go to the World Series, oh, perfect. I love it. Because that makes the White Sox having to raise their level of play and not just try to win the AL Central, try to win the American League because that's where the Twins are residing at, the top of the AL, and not just at the bottom level. And I'm glad they're representing the AL Central right, even though it was a crap division for the whole year, but they're out here playing ball. They're playing really good baseball without arguably what we would have thought their best player coming into this year, with Brian Buxton pretty much playing none of these games.
Yeah. And to go back to Ken Rosenthal's point, or at least the point that people are bringing up, and it's mainly salty Braves fans about it being unfair, the postseason, the new setup to teams that win the division. This is from Jolly Olive. The 2021 Braves had 5 days of rest between the regular season and playoffs. 2018 Red Sox had 5 days of rest as well. So I don't understand the rest idea. Again, if you brought up a point before the show about, if they want it to be like the NCAA tournament, make it the NCAA tournament.
I mean, it's not unfair, right?
No.
They've got good teams playing against good teams. Play better. If you think that if you're mad that you're losing, play better. The Orioles, didn't the Orioles walk 11 guys yesterday or something like that? Like, don't do that.
Corey
Play
Seager
better.
walked, I think, more than the entire White Sox did yesterday
times.
In 2023.
Right. If you're upset that you're losing in the playoffs, play better. That's the be all end all of it. Now, do I agree though that the playoffs as currently constructed are not rewarding the best team in baseball throughout a 162-game season? Yeah, because it's giving them more opportunities to lose and not get where they technically earned to go. But we're not going to go backward. There's not going to be less teams in the playoffs. There's too much money to be made with the higher number of playoff games. The bigger the TV contract you can sell, the more tickets you can sell. We're not going backwards. The answer to the question, what would I like to see the playoff format be? I'd like to see it be the best team in the American League versus the best team in the National League. Old school days.
Oldest of schools.
Oldest school days.
Oh.
Because here's the thing. Baseball, unlike the other sports, because of the way the playoffs have for the longest time been set up, are very much rewarding of the best teams during the regular season. You play a ridiculous gauntlet that is not present in any other sport. You play every day for 6 months. If you're the best team at the end of that, like the Braves were, or the Dodgers were, or the Orioles were, or the Rays were, then good on you. You get to go be competing for a championship. Just because you have the 5th best record in your league does not scream to me, boy, you earned it a chance to play for a title. But like I said, we're not going backwards. So what does baseball want it to be? Do they want it to be college basketball, where any sort of crazy chaos can happen at any time and there's upsets all over the place, and as long as you get into the dance, you've got a chance to walk away with a trophy? Or do they want it to be, now it's getting away from this now, but what college football long was, which was you play, the champions are determined during the regular season, and then they get to play at the very end. And to me, I like the value being placed on the team that does the best during the longest test, right? The regular season. I like to see the regular season being very highly valued, but we're not going backward. And this is probably not even the way it is. It's probably going to jump to 8 on both sides like basketball and hockey is.
And if you made it like the old college football, I'd be very excited to see like the White Sox claim a national championship.
Oh, sure. Yeah.
Even though they didn't win or were even in the championship game.
Right.
Hey, we were national champions if you look at this one number.
Because here's the thing. KPW says baseball is the ultimate crapshoot, but the idea being that you're playing 162 games, this outrageously immense amount of games that is supposed to level all that crapshootiness out of it and say, all right, we got the best team standing here at the end of the day. And that's what the Atlanta Braves were, right? That's what the Dodgers and the Orioles and the Rays were. But here you go. We're sitting here in October talking about how all those teams could be knocked out of it by the end of the LDS because of just, the crapshoot part of it being what happens over a course of 5 games. And so, in my opinion, I would like to see the weight being placed on the regular season, but that's not the way it's going. And so baseball, as well as all the other sports, by the way, NBA's got 16 teams in the playoffs. Hockey's got 16 teams in the playoffs. At least they did. Do they have more now? Maybe.
No, they're
no,
the
16.
same.
Hockey have more now? There's some sort of weird play in hockey?
No, it's just a weird
No?
division
Okay.
where they're all
NBA has a different play-in, so I think.
Oh,
I guess,
basketball's got a silly play.
but only
The actual
8 are only in
playoffs
the
is-
playoffs.
yeah.
Okay.
There's 2 other teams that get to be in the playoffs.
But the point
But-
being, every sport has moved toward that college basketball part of it where it's like, just get in and you got a chance to get hot and win it.
The one thing, though, with at least those 2 sports is they have 32 instead of 30. So I don't know if that plays in a factor at all.
does because it's even, and also
It's
baseball
still half the teams in the league making the playoffs.
is
though.
one of the things.
It'd be more than half if you did 16 with MLB.
Yeah, and that's what baseball was holding on for so long. We're like, we have the gauntlet, but also we have the fewest amount of teams making our postseason than other leagues. And if they go to where they're going to probably go to, and when they expand to 32, when that happens, they're going to 8 teams in each league playoff format.
And trim the regular season down.
Man, you're speaking to the choir right here. Preaching to the
Seriously,
choir.
though,
100
right?
games out.
Because
Done.
why are you making it this 6-month marathon if you're then going to have 2 months of playoffs and you're adding another marathon on top of a marathon? By the way, congrats to everybody who ran the marathon yesterday.
Yeah, hey, congrats to especially our coworkers, Kevin Kaduk
Kevin and Jared, our
Willis.
guys, they ran the marathon.
And you can check out their CHGO Marathon episode. I think Sarah produced that today, where Jared and Kevin talked about their experience, all 26 miles.
I was out there yesterday, not running, obviously.
I saw you had somebody who was running.
Yeah, my
right?
cousin ran. It was really cool to see her out there. We joke in our family that we have genes that don't allow us to run. And she proved that wrong, so good for her.
Way to go. Nice.
When are you doing it? When are you doing
I'm
it?
standing around.
Yeah, I was about to say, you don't eat vegetables, I don't think.
No.
Yeah,
No.
there you go.
You and,
I'm not
you and
built
Al
for
Michaels.
running. Now I can walk. I can walk a marathon no problem.
Yeah, you used to say you walked from work
I've once
back
walked
in the day.
I've once walked 19 miles around the city in a whole day.
Yeah,
But
it's too much.
But I could probably not run to the end of the block without dying.
Did you see the Al Michaels thing? Where he was getting interviewed by old-timey veteran journalist. Is like, I heard you don't eat vegetables ever in your life. He's like, no, I don't.
Al Michaels?
Al Michaels.
And he has lived a long life.
Yes, he has, and he was kind of like proving. It's like,
Yeah.
I haven't tasted vegetables. Like not even a carrot. It was Chris Matthews or not Chris Matthews, dead. Rest in peace. I forgot. Chris Wallace.
Oh, yeah.
Chris Wallace, not Chris Matthews.
Chris Matthews is dead?
The old
From MSNBC, Chris Matthews, he's dead?
Oh, not Chris Matthews. So not that guy. He's not dead. I was thinking of somebody else. I'm killing too many people yet. Sorry,
Stop
I'm
it,
mixing
Herb.
up my people.
Chris Matthews, 77, alive.
Yeah.
But he said he's never tasted carrots because they look unappealing. He's like, you never even put it in your mouth? Like, no. My parents didn't make me, and so I didn't, and I haven't. I was like, baby, that is a good lesson for all you youngsters. Stop eating your carrots.
I'm putting a picture. I'm putting a framed picture of Al Michaels up on the wall in my apartment. And every time my wife's like, "You have to eat your vegetables," I'm like, "Nope."
like
Al
that
Michaels says I don't.
Like the Notre Dame thing.
It's like, do you believe
did
in
it every day,
miracles?
yeah.
Yes.
every time I walk out the door to go get some Jewel fried chicken for lunch, just smack Al Michaels' picture.
Hell yeah.
But the playoff format, I think it's flawed, but it is what it is. At the beginning of the year, everybody knew this is what the playoffs were.
Absolutely.
The Braves did, the fans did, all these people did. And I get the bitching because you're losing now. I got it. But also, you're the Baltimore Orioles. You're throwing out Kyle Braddock. Fine, good. Grayson Rodriguez, tough. You're really just throwing these people out as your number 1 and number 2. You had 5 days off, and you don't have a number 1 starter. You're complaining to us that you can't hit, who was it, Andrew Heaney. So, that's your fault. Mm-hmm. That's not the playoffs format's fault. So, after all this bitching, it's just about you losing. I guarantee you wouldn't hear a word from the Baltimore Orioles, the Atlanta Braves fans, or any fans if those teams would have got a game, would have won one of those games that they started in the AL or NLDS. But this is all about them losing and acting like they lost because of the long layoff. Clayton Kershaw and the Dodgers didn't lose because of the long layoff. They lost because Clayton Kershaw got tits lit up immediately when he stepped into the arena. It was terrible, and the Arizona Diamondbacks took advantage.
And they played that team 12 times this year.
Exactly. And they were way up there in the top of the standings, and Arizona we're still going to be there. You have an opportunity to win. Now, another game today. Dodgers, can you show up with some rest and time? You got a tough customer on the other side, and Zach Gallen's not going to be giving up too many runs, but stop complaining and win some games. The wins are in front of you, and I get it. Baltimore's down, and now they're going to Texas, and Texas is throwing their ace. Win 3 games, Baltimore. That's all you got to do. Win 3 games and stop bitching.
They did it a lot during the regular season.
Exactly. You always talk about you beat everybody. You haven't got swept. It's your chance to prove that in the time where it means the most.
Yeah, imagine if the first time they get swept is in the playoffs.
And I will tweet out that the Baltimore Orioles play 3 more games than the White Sox.
Yeah, they will, right? They're guaranteed.
Only 3 more games than the White Sox.
More?
Yeah, that's it.
Hey, I think the biggest thing for Texas, looking back too, is Montgomery and Heaney. Again, lefties being able to neutralize right-handed power in Baltimore, I think, is absolutely massive. And their rotation kind of played into that park. So that's just kind of huge for Texas. And Texas is one of those teams like when they're hot, there's no one hotter.
And even former White Sox great Dane Dunning got the win the other day.
Hey, there you go.
His second career playoff start.
Oh my God, the first one didn't go so well.
Didn't last very long,
No,
that's for sure.
golly. Oof.
Maybe what was the final in that game?
With the Oakland one?
Yeah, it was because that was game 3, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Was that like 4-3?
The final score?
Yeah, because I remember
wasn't Dane
Nomar
Dunning's
Mazar
fault.
had a chance to do something versus Liam Hendricks, but he didn't swing
Yes.
the bat.
Shocked.
Swinging the bat is kind of part of that.
Here we go.
I think that's overrated.
6-4.
Yep.
The Oakland Athletics won. Yes.
So many mistakes.
The White Sox
in that
used
game.
like 100 pitchers in
Yeah,
that
they
game.
did.
Matt Foster, one of those guys.
Here you go. You ready?
Matt Foster's still
Wait,
on the
you'll be
40-man
shocked
roster.
at the number of pitchers. Even remembering watching that game.
I'll say 6.
No, not even close.
8.
Dane Dunning, Garrett Crochet, Aaron Bummer, Cody Hoyer, Carlos Rodon, Matt Foster, Evan Marshall, Jimmy Cordero, Alex Colomé.
That's just not their bullpen. That wasn't
9
just their
pitchers.
active bullpen.
That's 9 pitchers in one game.
Rodon pitched in that
Yeah,
game?
he was terrible.
I
He
forgot.
wasn't Rodon yet, and then he became Rodon the year after. Like the
No,
Rodon
I know that, but I forgot that he was just even
hella terrible.
pitched
That's
in
the
that
year.
game.
That's the he. Remember, he was hurt
In
the whole year.
Cleveland,
and he
yeah.
came back in the last week of the season out of the bullpen and
Ugh.
was a featured participant in that horrible series they had in against the Clevelands.
Man, think about Rodon's couple playoff appearances for the White Sox. Like, he was really good in 2021 early, and then, again, Carlos Correa ruined that again with that rope double down, and then that was game over. He was, like, hitting 100 early in that game, and then he, like, dialed it down to 93 because he couldn't get there again. So, yeah.
He was jacked up for that game.
God, that was game 4. We were like, here we go. We win this one. We're going back to Houston and winning the game 5. Did not.
Even then, the end of that season too. He he started feeling something in his forearm because he was going up
In
against I think-
21?
Yeah,
Yeah,
He was
remember
going
they
up against,
slow
like,
played him the whole
Reds or
game.
something?
That game in Cleveland, in Cincinnati. Yeah, he was awful. I don't think he got out of the 4th inning in that game.
And I think he was like averaging like 91, so just not good. All right, let's take a quick break. We'll see if there's any other thoughts on the postseason after this, and then we'll jump into the CHGO Diehard Mailbag. And shout out to Ray Chevy. Are you in the market for a new or used vehicle? If you are, then we have some great news for you because Ray Chevy in Fox Lake has just joined the CHGO team. We were talking with the team at Ray when they joined us, and they have a pledge called the Ray Price Promise. Not Ray Price's promise, Vinny. Ray Price Promise. The Ray Price Promise is a guarantee that the price you see online is the price you pay when you go into the dealership. We found that in many cases, other dealers will raise the price on you when you come into the dealership, asking things like, are you a recent college grad?
Nope.
Are you active in the military?
I'm not.
Are you a farmer?
I am not.
Herb,
Anymore.
you don't have urban chickens?
No. my neighbors do.
Yeah, I got some neighborhood chickens.
Do you get any
into
eggs?
that? No.
Oh.
I don't know. I don't know my neighbors. I just know.
Maybe that's on you.
Yeah, but I hear you walk by their fence and you hear chickens.
Oh, there you go.
There you go. You're not gonna get into that.
No. I would not be keeping them.
Ziggy's enough.
Yeah, exactly.
A dog and a chicken, I guess, are
You gotta
different.
feed them
animals.
too. No, I'm good.
You gotta feed a dog. Anyways,
It's cheap.
chicken feed has to be
Much cheaper. Yeah.
Can someone look up the price of chicken feed?
I buy one bag and it's like $60 and I'm out for like months.
Chicken feed $22.
There's no way on earth.
$14.
Chicken feed is more expensive than dog food.
The organic one is $27. That's $26.49.
Yeah, and I would
but if
do
you get
that,
regular,
'cause I
it's
want
like
my
$20.
chickens to have the best because I would have them laying eggs, right? Conceivably, they'll be my chickens for laying eggs, not eating, because then I would just eat them all.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't think people raise urban chickens to eat.
Yeah.
Anyways, you're not a farmer. You're not a recent college grad. You're not active in the military. That's when other dealers will raise the price on you, saying the price online included limited rebates that you do not qualify for. At Ray, that is not the case. The price you see online is the price you pay with no add-ons to the price ever. And in fact, Ray will do everything possible to find additional savings for which may make the price lower than you see online. As one of the top-selling dealers in the Midwest, you'll always be able to shop one of Chicagoland's largest inventories. And right now, you'll be able to save big at Ray Chevy during their Truck or Treat sales savings event because.
Real cool.
I got it.
What?
It's Halloween.
It is, yeah, Truck or Treat savings event because 0% is back and now available on new Silverado trucks, the perfect tailgating vehicle. So come on into Ray Chevrolet in Fox Lake and find the vehicles you've been searching for and pay, and best of all, pay zero hidden fees with the Ray Price Promise. Visit Ray Chevrolet in Fox Lake or visit raychevrolet.com. Serving the community since 1963. Find new roads. Truck or Treat.
Truck or treat. Love it.
Vinny, you got something that's kind of a little trick or treat for the folks out there?
I think
it's nope. I'm so sorry.
That's fine.
New for the off season. We're spreading the
Take two.
We're spreading the ad read wealth around, and it's obviously our first day of doing that.
Are you ready?
Are you ready?
I am ready. Game Time. You shouldn't have to worry about when you're buying tickets for your next big event. Game Time has fast and easy way to buy tickets for all sports, music, comedy, and theater events near you with killer last-minute deals on all-in prices, views from your seat, and their best price guarantee. Game Time takes the guesswork out of buying tickets, and as we have discussed many of times, I've gone down to Atlanta last year around the Labor Day area and went to the Braves Stadium. I was like, you know what? Let's go and check out Game Time. So I got some tickets. Then I went on the competitor's website to see if they had a lower price, and one of them did in the same row and same section. And so I sent an email over to Game Time, and within 12 minutes, that price was matched, and the 110% was in my deposit, in my account immediately. $46 to be precise. And so Game Time is the only ticketing app that gives you complete peace of mind, and that's what I have with the purchase. See and view your seats from the seat before you buy it. Know exactly what you're getting and expect when you expect to arrive. All-in prices, which I like to do because some of these ticketing sites lure you in with a small price, and then when you get all the taxes and stuff added up, it's like, oh my God, that's much more than I expected. So all-in prices show you total up front, so you'll know what you're getting right before you buy the ticket. Buying tickets in seconds with 2 taps. They're obsessed with finding ways to help you save money on tickets. Game Time has deals on tickets right up to the start of the event and even an hour after it starts. It's the place to find last-minute seats. I like to do that, like go an inning or two and say, you know what, let's see if Game Time has cheaper tickets. And those tickets do drop when the game starts. So go ahead and try that out at Game Time. Take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code CHGO for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account, redeem code CHGO for $20 off. Download Game Time today. Last minute tickets, lowest price, guaranteed.
Very nice, Herb.
Not Ray price, promise.
No.
The Game Time.
And it's
Promise.
a great price, not a Ray price.
It is a great price.
Great price. And two, I think that that's very important to make sure that you're not getting any, blocked seats. There's a great Twitter account that goes to college football stadiums and finds all of the obstructed views. And it's very nice to see, every single part of a stadium that, people just didn't think about when they were making it, because they were like, someone might sit here or someone might not. This is the Wyoming Bowl. I don't know. I'm just making that up. I don't think it's called the Wyoming Bowl. It's War Memorial Stadium. I do know that. Anyways, in Laramie. Okay, let's get into
Home of the Cowboys.
Home of the Cowboys.
Yeah.
Who should be ranked.
They're good?
Yeah.
Okay.
They've been feisty. All right, let's get into
Fighting Josh Allen's.
Let's get into the CHGO Diehard Mailbag here. The home of the Xavier Valades, the Fighting Xavier Valades, Brother Ice alum. My first question is to Vinnie Duber. I'm not a CHGO diehard, but this is a CHGO diehard exclusive.
I mean, you are a CHGO diehard.
I guess. When's the next time we're going to talk to Chris Getz?
Sometime soon.
Will it
hopefully.
be like what?
November, December, one of those 2 months.
The meetings.
We will see.
Okay. All right. I'm just trying to think because I think you wrote about the optimism even after the 101 losses at All CHGO. That's your latest article, so go check that out. Again, I really don't know if I can have optimism if I don't know the budget. Like, I don't know how much this team's going to spend. Like, if this team is going to, go over $200 million, hey, maybe they'll compete with the Twins. But, like, I mean, you guys think the Twins are the vaunted Twins. This isn't the elephant in the room. This is the Twins division.
I mean, they
didn't look that vaunted until October came around.
I mean, the AL Central, yes, is a bad division. And, yes, the Twins aren't world beaters, but they had some separation between themselves and the Guardians and the Tigers and us as the White Sox. So, yeah, I think when Vinny and the folks talk to Chris, I don't think he'll divulge the number or close to the number, but he'll say, I got to, it'll be a case-by-case basis on who we're acquiring. I don't think he'll have a actual number that he'll divulge to us, but we'll see at the end of the offseason. It will be obvious what his ceiling was, because I think he has to get most of that stuff, and he has to hit that ceiling where he's at, because there's a lot of spots to be filled.
Yeah, I think that answers, if the question you were going to ask me is what is the budget going to be, I think well,
I know you don't know that.
Right, but I think Herb kind of laid it out pretty perfectly, which is there's probably a lot of room for the budget to be in a number of different places based on what they're able to get done. And I think that we've talked about that in regards to other things before. You talk about, are they going to be able to compete with the Twins? A good team should be able to compete with the Twins, absolutely. But the White Sox, as we know, because they just lost 101 games, have a ways to go before we can consider them a good team. And so there's a difference between, can they catch the Twins in one offseason, and how close are they going to get to being the kind of team that could catch the Twins in one offseason. So there's a lot, obviously, to be determined. I think to answer, to address your question, to address anybody else's question about what's the budget going to be, what are they going to be able to do from a competitive standpoint next year, we don't know, and we're not going to know until the pieces are in place.
But isn't the reason why Chris Getz is in this position is because he likely sold Jerry Reinsdorf on a ability to, get results quickly? I mean, that's what Jerry
but what
said.
Does quickly mean?
I mean, Jerry said the fans deserve.
Jerry said he
speed.
expects the team to be much better next year. That's what he said.
There's a lot of room for improvement when you lose 100.
Boy, is there? Yes, but I think
75 wins. Here we go.
I think it's to be determined how realistic it is for it to turn around in one offseason. There are people who are optimistic that it will, because their job is to try to field a competitive team, and they're not going to walk into it assuming they're going to fail to do that. But I would say that it's going to take an awful lot for them to be competing for a division title next year, but they play in a division where it's probably takes less than it would in every other division, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I know we poo-poo 75 wins. That's a 14-game improvement. It's a 14-win improvement.
Yeah, but what does it get you? Like,
no, it doesn't get you anywhere, but that's what I'm saying. Like,
they need like a 30-win improvement.
If they go to 75 wins, I won't be satisfied. I'll be like, you played a little bit better than that shit you played in 2023, but we still got a lot to go. Like, they got to win 14 more games, and for us, like, that's still not enough. That's terrible.
There has not been anybody who has said, employed with the White Sox, I should say, that they are going to be a contending team next year,
right?
Specifically next year. I think there's a lot of people over there that think it can happen quickly, but quickly is also the alternative to what they just did, which is something that took 6-7 years for them to get from all the way torn down to all the way built back up.
Do you think their language and their vagueness gives them some plausible deniability? The words quickly, get up and running, I think Chris can do the job type of things. It's just like, so Jerry next year can be like, I said quickly. I didn't say next year.
No, I think at the end of the day, that doesn't really matter that much. White Sox fans want to see him win and win immediately, and that's a fine. It's a fine thing to think and want when you're a fan. I'm the one who's here to tell you what is realistic and what isn't. But you guys can think, yeah, they should be better next year. They should be a lot better next year. They should be trying to compete next year. I think that's a very reasonable thing to think when you're a fan. I don't think they're out here selling anything to anybody other than we think it can come along quicker than the alternative.
Right.
Which is vague, but I don't think they're being vague on to try to trick anybody.
Okay.
Yeah,
I think
so I can just come back next time like we didn't say all what you're saying.
Well, there's definitely levels to all of what each person's saying too. I don't think there's one consistent message because Jerry's saying the fans deserve speed. Chris said he's doing a deep dive and really isn't sure. He wants a short and a long-term plan, and maybe they'll be competitive for the division next year. And I think Gene Watson was the only one to be we'll see.
We said we're not going to put a timetable on it.
But
I think all of those things are non-specific enough where there is a Venn diagram where all those things could overlap with each other, right? And it doesn't mean it's going to be next year, but maybe it means it would be 25. Maybe if they surprise and can cross everything off their to-do list this winter, it can be next year. Maybe they don't cross everything off the to-do list, but all of a sudden Moncada and Jimenez and TA and Vaughn and Robert are all healthy at the same time and playing well, and it's not as big of a the thing that everybody envisioned finally comes around, and it's like, oh, look, they're doing what they're finally doing it. So I'm not saying any of those things are going to happen, but they're all possibilities, and they all have a great effect on when, if you're looking for a date that this thing could get back to being competitive, could be.
And I do bring it up just because MLBTradeRumors.com did file a piece writing about the White Sox and the outlook for this offseason, and the ending remark is at least a competent 2024 White Sox team would seem to need a catcher, second baseman, right fielder, 3 starting pitchers, and multiple relievers. They needed Robert to stay healthy again, and most of the holdovers need to improve upon 2023. As daunting as that sounds, the White Sox could reasonably add around $75 million in 2024 without increasing their payroll. If Getz is given that level of spending power, he'll at least have a chance to remake the team in his image over the winter. So we'll see again how much money he is allowed to spend, and that was from Tim Dirks of MLBTradeRumors.com. Again, I mean, I do think that the Brian Bannister hire signals that they're likely going to bargain bin shop, at least on the pitching side. But for hitters, again, it's a pretty thin market, and a lot of it depends on Tim Anderson too. I mean, that's like $14 million right there. I think it's him or Elvis Andrus. So, hey. We've seen how both of those guys have gone, and I think it's worth probably giving Tim a shot, and we'll see what happens with the Liam Hendricks option as well. Let's get into some of the CHGO Diehard questions. We'll answer those, and then we'll get into another ad break. I think we got 2 after the break. But why don't we go to Ian's question, where he goes into the Orioles, because you guys brought up, or I think Herb brought up, Kyle Bradish and Grayson Rodriguez as the Game 1 and Game 2 starters for the Orioles, maybe being the reason why they're down 2-0 to the Rangers. But are the Orioles regretting not trading for Dylan now, from Ian Robo in our CHGO Diehard Discord? Thoughts?
Regret, no, but they do need a front line number 1, and they might not have saw Dylan Cease as that, as at the time they were trading him. He was not. And this year, only I think at the end was he showing that he was back to 2022 form. But I think this offseason could be an important one if the Orioles do get swept, where their fan base and their team is going to be like, okay, we made it 100 wins, and we had a great year. We won the AL East where it wasn't expected, but still had a limiting factor when we got to the playoffs. We need a top-line starter with all these prospects we have. They're not going to be on the field, so we need to trade some of them away to get a top-line guy. And we believe we can get Dylan Cease for a bargain and come back at the White Sox and see if they can get that trade going again. But, yeah, I don't think they're regretting it as an organization. Maybe some of the fans who were probably at the time like, yeah, we need to get a guy like Dylan Cease, especially when he's available and available for a cheaper price than usual. They're probably chirping on Twitter right now. But I think this offseason is very important for the Orioles, and maybe they're a little bit more desperate if they do get swept, and maybe the White Sox and Chris Getz, who is like, you know what, if we're supposed to be competing quickly, trading away Dylan Cease puts a hindrance to that. But also, I think it could start a team's rebuild, which the White Sox should be doing quicker if you get some of those Orioles prospects they have. They're not going to get the top of the top, the Jackson Hollidays of the world. You can forget about those, but you can get some solid players that are helping the Orioles right now in their major league team, and you can probably build this team up quicker and more efficiently offensively if you do trade Dylan Cease. I think it'll be very, very hard for Chris Getz and the boys to let a pitcher like that with years to go on his deal go to the Orioles no matter what. But I think it'll be an interesting offseason if the Baltimore Orioles get swept, because they'll be looking for a top-line starter because, like I said, Kyle Bradish had a great year. Grayson Rodriguez is the future. But if you get Dylan Cease, then you're cooking with gas.
I mean, the O's probably wish they had him right now, but I don't know if you regret not making the specific deal that they were dealing with at the time, right? It's not just like it was hey, you want Dylan Cease, you can have him for whatever you want kind of thing.
Yeah.
Like, it's not like it was that. I'm sure Rick Hahn, who was still running the show at the time, was asking for a ton, and rightfully so because of what Dylan was and still could be. So I think the Orioles are probably happy that they have the guys that it would have cost them to get Dylan Cease, because it probably helped them get to where they are in the first place here, or helped them continue to be set up for long-term success. I mean, remember, this is the goal of all of these type of projects, and the Orioles are the latest team to kind of seemingly pull it off in successful fashion, these rebuilding efforts. The idea is to stay good. It's not just to be good once. It's to be good for a long, long time. And if they hung on to a bunch of young players that can help them accomplish that goal, then they're probably happy they did that.
Yeah, and, Jared's asking what was it that they offered for Cease again? We don't know. The rumor was Jackson Holliday, I think, as you brought up. I wanted Grayson Rodriguez if the White Sox were going to trade Dylan Cease. No deal was done, so we're not really sure what that was, what that trade would have ended up looking like. I don't think the Orioles, and especially the way that we saw that their owner acted with Kevin Brown, I don't know if this team is ever out for going and making a splash like that. They seem to be, let's try to do this all from grassroots efforts, and they've done a fantastic job. I mean, hey, 101 wins by doing that. I mean, there isn't really a huge superstar on that team that isn't homegrown. Santander's been there for 8+ years. Adley was their first overall pick. Gunnar is blasting home runs, even though they're down 11-5, and he's been great. I mean, I guess like Aaron Hicks, but he was a cast-off from the Yankees. Like, I mean, truly, a lot of their guys are...
Mullins for them, too?
Yeah, Mullins was, I don't know if he was drafted by them, but
they got John Means back at the end of the year, who was their top starter back in the day when they were just rebuilding, and he finally came back from Tommy John.
He got shut down again, poor guy. 13th round for Mullins.
Yeah,
in 2015. So I mean, they've just done a fantastic job of taking what they have and making the most out of it. So I really don't think that them giving up what they're able to usually get the most out of in their own players that they've scouted. I don't think it really seems like their MO to give up those players for a guy like Dylan Cease. So, I mean, they're probably fine with their Kyle Bradishes, and, if they're able to make it back to the playoffs next year, I think they're going to be happy.
I mean, they're still in the playoffs.
That's true.
You're kicking them out already? They got one game in Texas at least.
You're not wrong. We'll see. Hey, again, Ken Rosenthal saying it's all unfair. Let's get into...
Did you read what he said? His lead was all about how, the reason all these teams are losing is not because of the playoff format. He did the thing I always do and then get yelled at for.
Oh.
Acknowledging that, it's... I'm obviously not saying it's unfair, but let's take a look as if it were. I'm just saying, you don't need to crush him. You don't need to crush him. You didn't read it?
No, I didn't read it.
Wow, you didn't read it. Unbelievable.
I didn't read it. I shared it in our group chat, but I didn't read it. I'll point a thumb. All right, let's take an ad break. I want to let you know about our friends over at Circa Sportsbook. I saw Cody got the hoodie, and now I'm regretting not going out to their event. I'm guessing that's where Cody got the Circa hoodie. I'm pretty jealous.
Got that there. The tailgate, the Circa people were at our tailgate. We have one this Sunday too, so they'll be out there. At least they were at the first two, so you can go out and get yourself a T-shirt and or hoodie.
You got to go find a hoodie. Shout out to Circa Sportsbook, though. They have just launched in Illinois. I believe it was the end of September, right? It was the last week, I think, of September. They officially launched here in Illinois. So go sign up and download the app You can go to your app store, whether it be Android or iPhone, and download it there. You can also go to circasports.com/Illinois-app to sign up today. You can also be on the lookout for any of those Circa events, like when they open up and had their official party at the Temporary in Waukegan, where Brian Urlacher was, at the Old Crow one in Wrigleyville the day before.
Curtis Granderson was there.
Any of our tailgates, especially the two that are coming up on the 15th and 22nd of October. So again, download the Circa Sports Illinois app today at circasports.com/Illinois-app to sign up. They have great customer service, and again, their biggest thing that they want to tell you about is games will strive to be a -110 split on the Circa menu, unlike other sportsbook, which may use it -115 or -120. And Circa keeps as little money as possible on large market bets, especially compared to other books, to keep those numbers down for you. So if you are trying to find the best number possible, it is highly, highly likely that Circa has the best number. And if they don't, they encourage you to shop around. So go to circasports.com/Illinois-app. If you or somebody you know has a gambling problem, call 1-800-GAMBLER, 1-800-426-2537, or text GMB 833-234, or visit areyoureallywinning.com. Vinny, I mentioned the tailgates.
You did. It's true.
Do you have any info on that?
Boy, do I, Sean. You know that there are
geez.
some CHGO tailgates coming up.
I do.
The Bears, they're playing games against the Minnesota Vikings and the Las Vegas Raiders, both on the next two Sundays. And we've got tailgates for you. So come on down to the best tailgate in the city. It's all part of the experience that we offer here at CHGO. You get a discount on that if you're a diehard, so why not become a CHGO diehard? If you're listening, we do the podcasts. We do the live shows, for the White Sox 5 days a week. But guess what? We've also got them for the Bears and the Bulls and the Blackhawks and the Cubs as well, if you're someone who wants to know about all sides of Chicago baseball, and then we've got the writing on the website as well, allchgo.com. Sean teased my thing that I got up there now about the new front office hires. But hey, go read Will Gottlieb on the Bulls. Go read Adam Hogan, Nick Moriano on the Bears. A lot of Bears stuff going on. You want to be up to date on that. So go ahead. You get 20% off of the events if you're a diehard. You get the free shirt when you become a member. You're wearing a sweatshirt right now.
Yes, this is a diehard exclusive.
But there's Chicago, or there's White Sox ones too for our CHGO White Sox garb, if that's what you'd like to wear. You can join the Discord. You already had one question today from our mailbag. That's where you ask us those questions, is in that members only Discord. So, and you can get your hands on all the shirts you can possibly handle for all the teams. Guys, it's basketball season now, hockey season coming up, post-game shows. We're going to have Jay, we're going to have Greg, we're going to have Mario doing post-game shows on every Connor Bedard game from here on out.
Hockey Jesus.
Yeah, they're going to Pittsburgh for Tuesday night's game.
That's tomorrow.
The lid lifter.
The lid lifter.
Ooh.
All right, thanks, Danny Mac.
Raise your hands to the crossbar and celebrate the Hawks being back. But yes, allchgo.com. That's where you want to go to check out all the information to become a diehard and enjoy all that all CHGO has to offer.
Great job, Vinny.
Thank you.
And we'd love to see you join the diehards today, and especially join that Discord. Whenever we do have Mondays, we open up the mailbag. So we'll get to more questions in just a sec. Also want to let you know about our friends over at FOCO. We have some great bobbleheads behind here to help fill out the set. It would be lonely if that kind of back area wasn't full out. Sometimes we move the bobbleheads up here on the front table as well. But shout out to FOCO for donating those awesome pieces to our sets. Go show them some love at FOCO.com. That's FOCO.com, or click the link in the description below. For all non-presale items, use the promo code CHGO for 10% off. Get fit in the best sports gear around at FOCO.com. They have hoodies, shoes, signs, bobbleheads, and everything in between that you need to be the most decked out fan possible. Again, hockey and basketball season are here, so go check out FOCO's selection at FOCO.com, or click the link in the description below. For all non-presale items, use the promo code CHGO for 10% off. As we always like to bring up, an item that is now on is not on presale is the Andrew Benintendi Arkansas Razorback bobblehead. So
go.
if you're looking to,
No White Sox bobblehead collection is complete without it. That's what I say.
he's a $75 million man. I mean, come on. I mean, it's very
but it won't
niche.
cost you that much to get that bobblehead.
That's true.
Yeah.
It's
A fraction of the price.
Yeah.
fraction.
You could afford a few. We'll put it that way. Yeah.
You can buy out the FOCO stock hold of the Benintendi Arkansas bobbleheads. I mean, you can make an army of Benintendi Arkansas bobbleheads. Let's get into the next diehard questions. Honestly, Sarah, you pick.
Dealer's choice.
There's two more. You pick. I don't even know.
Pressure's on, Sarah.
All right, we're going
Boom.
to Gary. So Gary is a Cubs fan. Gary is also an Indiana fan. And Gary is usually hanging out with us in our Big Ten chats and usually trolling us, or at least specifically Greg Braggs, because Greg is a Purdue fan. And Gary is getting involved in the White Sox Mailbag Monday, saying when it's bummer.
He's strapped on his candy stripe warm-ups,
Yes.
and he's typing out about the White Sox.
And he's throwing the proverbial chair into the Mailbag Monday.
There you go.
And saying, when is Bummer being traded to the Cubs? This is from Gary Ross, 18. I think Aaron Bummer is going to be a guy that Brian Bannister thinks is a nice shiny piece. I know fans really dislike Aaron Bummer, but a lot of nerdy fans really promote the outlying numbers for Aaron Bummer, the analytical numbers for Aaron Bummer, how usually his FIP, what is fielding independent pitching, is usually a lot lower than his actual ERA because he's got a lot of bad defense.
Last year's.
I feel like he's going to be the apple of Brian Bannister's eye.
Like, it was a 6 ERA last year, I believe, and the FIP was in the 3s. So, yeah. And before he gave up that home run, or the first home run this year, late in the year, and then he gave up a bunch after that, his FIP was very low, and people were like, okay, just get him some defense behind him. And as you were saying, Brian Bannister is going to see him, and the fact that the White Sox don't really have a lot more left-handed relievers. They have Garrett Crochet back there also, but we don't know his role as of right now. But I think he'll be solidly on the White Sox rotation, and, of course, he doesn't make that much money. A good quality contract for him when they signed it a long time ago. If he performs to the level that they thought that he was, it'll be a bargain, a discount. Now, I don't think there's any benefit to trading Aaron Bummer. I got what you want. I hear what you want. You want a nice, solid top of the or back end of the bullpen type of guy like Aaron Bummer for cheap because he's struggling right now. But Gary, you're gonna have to wait because we don't got those guys for you because Brian Banner's gonna fix him up, and then maybe at trade deadline you get Brian Bannister when we're 10 games behind the Minnesota Twins.
Gary's a Indiana fan?
Yeah, sadly.
So here's what I'll ask Gary. If the White Sox give up Aaron Bummer, who is going to pitch out of the back end of the bullpen, because they do not have anybody back there. Thank you, Herb. They do not have anybody back there right now. It's basically Bummer and Crochet, and who knows if Gregory Santos is even healthy at the moment.
Oh, I forgot my guy Tan too.
Shut down at the end of the season. You'll remember with Gregory Santos, who was before that crosstown series supposed to be the closer moving into next season. Right now, they have no closer, and they traded away all their guys who made up at the time, confidence-inspiring back end of a bullpen. Right, the veteran guys they had that had done the job before. They got rid of all those guys. And so now there's nobody back there. And if we're talking about all offseason, how badly they need starting pitching, man, they need to put somebody in that rotation because there's nobody past Cease and Kopech to get the job done. Well, you can't have a bullpen that's just Aaron Bummer and Garrett Crochet and then that's it. And just throw in guys from AAA and say, well, hope this works. I mean, they're going to need to go out and get a couple of arms if they think that they're going to compete this year. They're going to need to get a couple of arms for that bullpen. They are not in a position where they can afford to trade Aaron Bummer right now. As bad as the numbers were last year, I think you're right, Sean, in that they will throw all their resources, new and otherwise, at being able to kind of get him back to where he was. But he's experienced, and he's got experience in those high leverage moments. The White Sox don't really have anybody else that fits that description. Garrett Crochet a little, but not a ton because his innings have been pretty low over the last couple of years. They need Aaron Bummer to, I know it's going to sound crazy to people who were complaining because of the horrible numbers he put up last year. They're going to need him to kind of anchor things back there, at least with what they got right now.
And I don't think the numbers are that bad, especially when we've talked about Brian Bannister, and what we've seen from the Giants is they like to use their pitchers a lot. right? They like to use, guys for multiple innings. And we heard, I think, in the middle of the year that they wanted to use Bummer in more multiple inning roles. Let's look at how he performed in 2023 when pitching more than an inning and a third. That's weird. 27 innings in total, 6 earned runs. That's a 2 ERA, 35 Ks, and 7 walks. He was really good. Oh, that's shocking. Aaron Bummer, I know, has been very horrendous at times to watch, and when it's bad, but he is so unique and hard for people to pick up that this is going to be a guy that Brian Bannister is probably drooling over to work over. And we hear the issues, I think, even going back to 2021 or 2022 when Ethan Katz and Bummer were working on the way the ball was coming out of Bummer's hands. It's just very hard for Bummer to replicate his grip each and every time because it's so unique for him. And once he's finally settled in and locked in, I mean, he can be untouchable. So I get the perception of Bummer being down, but this is a guy that is extremely unique and can be. There's a reason they signed him to a 5-year extension, is what I'm trying to say. And I do think that if you have an improved defense around him, maybe that doesn't matter because he can strike out all four guys he goes up against. But
he induces ground balls.
He induces a ton of ground balls. He doesn't get hit massively hard, and we really did see that kind of be a little shaky, as you brought up in Wrigley and getting taken deep by Nick Madrigal. But overall, he's going to be on the team next year, and I think that he can be a very valuable piece still.
Yeah. Well, I mean, his problem was the same as we saw from several other White Sox pitchers this year. Don't walk guys. Don't give up home runs. It's okay if the ground balls sneak through. Frustrating, sure, but it's okay. You did your job. You got the ground ball. Don't walk guys. Don't give up home runs. That's not doing your job. That's what they need to fix. It sounds easy, much easier said than done, obviously.
And I don't know what the inherited runners were, but I think that's half of the thing where White Sox fans are down on him from last year, where he was just giving up runs that he came in and didn't clean up the inning. And then, like I said, I don't know the exact number. It was a 6 ERA, but the FIP was down low, and it was all right, he pitched much better than the numbers say, but the traditional numbers are what people are going to go by, and what they anecdotally saw is him giving up runs that weren't necessarily his, and so he was vilified for that in 22, and in 2023, oh man, it compounded itself, and he was persona non grata for the White Sox fans. What would you get from him right now anyways? He's at the lowest part of his value right now, even though he has a great contract.
Well, but that's the thing is, Brian Bannister has talked about, when guys have a bad year, that's when he likes to come in and try to help them.
It's a sweet spot.
Flip step over.
The sweet spot for him baking good cakes.
But too, again,
doing a lot of that. Yeah, I saw that in your article.
The final numbers on Bummer for when he was pitching more than 1 1/3 in a game. 27 innings pitched, 6 earned runs, 14 hits, 7 Ks, or 7 walks, 35 Ks. So striking out more than a batter an inning. His WHIP is well under 1, and his ERA is 2 for those 27 innings. So he was extremely effective in those positions. So again, I think there is somebody of value that the White Sox have in their bullpen. And as KPW, is that what you're pointing at?
Yeah.
6.79 ERA with a 3.58 FIP. Whoop.
Yeah.
Woof. All right, let's get to the final question. And this is from AJ. And AJ always has a very fun and creative question. So shout out to AJ. It's Baseball Kid in our CHGO Discord saying, if you could add one feature or amenity to Guaranteed Rate Field for the rest of its lifespan, what would it be? No body scanners, opening the concourse to 500 level ticket holders, or turning the stadium north to feature the skyline. So thank you, AJ,
if you
for
have
that question.
if you have a telescope.
Yeah, if you have a telescope and the ability to raise it off the ground.
Of course, I'm gonna borrow from my guy Rami Makloff. Put a roof on it. Every game will be played. It can be retractable. I know it would be tough to retrofit the building, but put a roof on the stadium. And I know you're not going to necessarily get Final Fours at Guaranteed Rate Field because it's too small of a place. But more concerts, get every game that you go to will be played no matter what. That would be my thing for Guaranteed Rate Field because I don't think much more you can do for that stadium. The food's good. The beer's good. The atmosphere, for the most part, when you're at the game and the tailgating, awesome. But I don't think anything else, in my opinion, you can really do to improve that stadium unless you just wreck it and build a new one.
Herb is going far too serious with this question.
Oh, yeah.
As we know from previous episodes, the answer to making baseball stadiums better is to make them as silly and goofy as possible. So something wacky, obviously bring back the goose head. That goes without saying. I'm not even going to count that. But, some sort of something like maybe the home run sculpture down in Miami. Maybe you turn that into a thing with spinning socks on it. That sounds good. Maybe
that's kind of the exploding scoreboard.
Well, yeah, but it's not really exploding. It doesn't explode.
It doesn't.
Maybe at the end of every year they should actually explode it.
I'm not against
Get a
that.
new one.
And here's something that I did. Here's a good one.
Might cost a lot of.
Instead of rally towels, every fan when they walk in the stadium just gets a big long white tube sock. Wave it the whole game from April all the way to the end of the year. Boom, that's a thing.
God.
Make it a thing, right? It's great. And then here's something that I thought when I read that question for the first time was color, right? The structure of guaranteed rate field because of the colors of the team,
Bland.
black and gray and kind of dull, right? The reason Wrigley Field looks kind of so good when you're sitting and looking out at the game is the green on the outfield, right? Let's jazz it up. Let's use those pinwheels. Let's put those pinwheels all over the place. Let's get some brighter colors in there, some pops.
Yeah, they even got the red brick too, which is different than just like a green padded wall. So that also I think helps the Wrigley aesthetic. But also too, I just don't understand why Guaranteed Rate Field took all the retired players off the wall. That was very cool. That was very unique. It wasn't silly like you're bringing up, but still it was unique to that ballpark. I don't understand why they took that down.
Here's a way to make it silly. You actually put the living players in a little penalty box out behind the fence. So instead of just a drawing of Frank Thomas, Frank just gets to sit there and wave the whole game.
Like instead of when Bruce Wayne has all of his his costumes up in the glass boxes. You used to have your Frank Thomas just up in a glass box watching the game. Yeah.
So if we're getting silly,
in
the 500 level, you really can't go down to the 100 level. So if you've ever been up to the 500 level after a game, you got to do that whole death march or the circle down to the bottom floor. Skip that. We're doing those airplane inflatable ladders down, and so you get to slide out of the 500 level. Each 500 level. It's
I still want a pool.
I know we're all getting sued because people are going to get hurt, but let's do it.
You want what?
A pool. I said that. Yeah,
that's the
I've been
D-backs
saying.
thing. Come on.
No, I know, and I've said this before on the show where I think that's the coolest idea, and I would absolutely utilize it. I think it would be if you just get a bunch of drunk people, everyone's a big pool party right by where
Sox already have a bunch of drunk people.
There'd be a lot of fights in
bleachers
that
are,
pool.
right by where the bleachers are. At Wrigley, you'd put a pool there, but at Guaranteed Field.
I think that you're onto something. This was actually going to be my answer. The CIBC fan deck, turn that into a pool because then it's a pool, but then you have
mean the fundamentals deck?
No, that thing in the center field.
Center field where
the fan deck.
And we can add a water slide too, so we'll incorporate your idea and we can do
just
a
goes
whole
to center field?
thing. Yeah.
Here's a better idea. If Herb gets his wish and they put a roof on the stadium, instead of just having a shower in the outfield concourse, it's just one big shower. Sox win.
Rain.
Shower.
Awesome. That'll be perfect.
You're talking about if there's a dome.
Yeah.
If we were all well, I guess you don't know this because you don't eat vegetables. When you go to the grocery store,
I've been to the Jewel.
Yeah, to keep them fresh, they spray water on them.
They spritz them. Yeah, I'm aware. Yeah.
That would be the people at the game.
Yeah.
Anyways, that's going to do it for the CHGO White Sox podcast. Thank you to Sarah Fichter for producing the show. That's Vinnie Duber, our CHGO White Sox beat writer. He's got a piece about Chris Getz and optimism. If you haven't read it, go check it out at allchgo.com. And the man in the middle is Herb Lawrence. You can follow him at Ecknerwall23. He's our CHGO White Sox community leader. I'm Sean Anderson. Follow me at Sean_W_Anderson. We'll be back tomorrow at 3:30 p.m. I guess it's Connor Bedard's debut, and we're a White Sox podcast. But that's tomorrow, so get excited. Goodbye.
We all silly like the man.